Hi guys, Alec Peirce at the ranch, trying to solve some more problems around the ranch. I thought I'd share this one with you because I had some difficulty with this. I'm repairing our front gate. Our front gate has an electric opener and closer on it, and the gate itself is made out of telephone poles. And the opener over years has moved the bolts that hold it in place onto the post. The bolts have gotten loose in the wood. So what I've decided to do is to take the two carriage bolts that go through the telephone post of the gate and put a nice solid metal plate on the outside instead of just a washer. The washer's really easy, but if I put this nice solid 1/4-inch metal plate on the outside for both of these bolts, you see, that won't move, not for a long time, not in my lifetime anyway. So that's what I decided to do. No problem. 1/2-inch bolts, 1/2-inch hole. I drilled a 1/2-inch hole and we're all set to go. Here's the problem. You already know what's happening, don't you? This is a carriage bolt, which means it has a square portion underneath the domed head. And I wanted to use carriage bolts for a couple of reasons. First of all, it saves holding the outside. This is a one-man job if you have the carriage bolt. And secondly, it's a little more secure as well. Nobody can undo a carriage bolt from the outside. So I wanted to use carriage bolt. Here's the problem. How do I get this carriage bolt to go through here and lock in place? As you can see, the carriage bolt sits up like so. That square portion doesn't go down through the steel. If you're using a carriage bolt on wood, it's not a problem. It pulls in. But on steel, I want that to lock in there nice and tight. How do you do that? Well, it took me a little while. I figured it out. I phoned a friend of mine who's a machinist, a hobbyist, an engineer, actually works on nuclear reactors. And as I often do, I asked him for some ideas. We talked about it for a while. I was going to buy what's called a broach. I've never even heard of a broach before, but a broach is a tool that you use to make square holes in steel. But they're expensive. They're very brittle. You require a press and on and on and on. So I decided to figure out, and with my friend's help, we decided this would work. So what did I do? Well, the first thing I did was I had two holes in here. And you can see them on this side, both exactly the same, 1/2-inch round holes. This hole, I've already gone ahead, and what I've done is I've countersunk it. I took a larger drill, 1/2-inch hole. I took a 9/16 drill, and I put it down. Now, only about halfway, no more than halfway. There's some pictures for you to see. I put it down about halfway. And now I'm going to go to the vise, get that set up, and show you what I'm going to do next. So I've mounted my plate with the two holes in it into the vise. And the vise is spread apart wide enough that the bolt will go through quite easily. I'm not going to use the long bolt because it'll hit the vise. I got the same size bolt, but very short. But I can drop that bolt in there quite easily, as you can see. Okay, step one, get it all set up. Now, you may not have to do all of this. It depends on the piece of metal. If this was thin metal, I would just hold it in my hand and give it a whack with a hammer, and it would depress enough that those four corners would lock in place and we'd be all set. But this is 1/4-inch steel plate, and it's going to be a little harder to do. In fact, what I've decided to do is to heat it up a little bit to soften the metal. So I'm going to heat it up with the oxyacetylene torch, and then I'm going to take this same size bolt, put it in there when it's nice and red and hot. I'm going to take the biggest hammer I've got, and I'm going to whack that as hard as I can. And hopefully, as we discussed with my friend, hopefully that will go down in there enough that the carriage bolt will be smooth with the top, and the four corners will hold it. Let's give it a try and see what happens. Okay, it's nice and red hot all the way around. I'm going to drop the bolt in there. Just the way I want it, like so. Let's see what happens. Just like that. That's going nowhere now. Nice and smooth on the outside, and it won't turn when I go to put it together. There you go, guys. Just that easy. Well, I'm surprised. It's the first time I've done this. And it did work really, really well. I'm pretty pleased with that. Okay. Hope that helps. Talk to you soon. Alec Peirce at the ranch.